All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday with my man Rio, talking hoops. 7 games on the slates. You can see right there, 7 Eastern is the first time to 8 Eastern is the last game of the slate. I love it. 7 games all within an hour window. You can do whatever you want after. If you got nothing going on and you want to play some night slates or some showdown in particular, we do have you covered. Little Neck, phenomenal job. NBA Showdown slate plan. You can get coverage there as well. Prizes are solid. We got Sean in here. We got Nate B. We got Mighty going an hour early today. Got some stuff to do right after, so I appreciate Rio hopping on early. If you're watching live, watching on playback, all we ask is the like button, subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. Rio, happy Miami Heat chalk day. I think that's what I'm seeing right now. They're applied for 126 points. Get the nut matchup against the Wizards and a lot of injuries. And it might only be able to get better. Tyler Hero also questionable there. We'll get to that, but a laundry list of Q tags, which you should expect in March. How are we doing today?
Doing pretty good. I got to ask you, how does it feel to be on Pacific time zone now?
Yeah, I mean, yesterday, for those that are in Discord, I almost missed lock. If I didn't have notifications on for Ship It Nation, when we put out our projections, it was like, it's final at 7 p.m. it said. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was playing with my little man Tucker for like the whole time up until I got off the show till then. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she was about to go take a nap. I just bolt out of there. I go have to get all my stuff and get the stuff on the site. Yeah, I mean, so time zones don't change here, but the Eastern time, like we don't have to do anything with our clocks on daylight savings, but it does switch. It's like now we're 3 hours behind the East Coast, 2 hours behind Central time zone. It got me all messed up. That was about to be really, really bad, missing lock. So yeah, thanks for rubbing that in a little bit. We are now dialed in, and that will not happen again. But yeah, I actually like this time zone better, for being honest, though. I like earlier start time, 4 Eastern for me, as you see Sharon Sabersim, or 4 o'clock Mountain Time is when the slate locks. Just everything's moved up a bit. NFL, when we get there, starts at 10 a.m. for the first couple of weeks. I'm a fan of the earlier start times personally. But how was your night yesterday? Any thoughts? I mean, what a game with Shea and Jokic going back and forth. That was pretty cool. But yeah, anything from yesterday or anything you want to talk about today before we go game by game?
No, I mean, that game was amazing. Probably one of the better games of the entire season, I would say. I think that's just kind of like nailing the coffin for the MVP race. It's Shea for sure. Great performance by him. Yeah, I mean, it was a big win for OKC. Not really surprising to see that Shea had a huge game. I think I got like 3rd or 4th place in the big lotto yesterday, but I was duped a bunch of times, so it feels pretty bad to have a duped team, but was like 2 or 3 points out of first place. So, solid night all around. Kind of got a little messed up with pre-lock stuff as well, but not the time zone change. It was more so just like Sabersim acting up a little bit, but ended up having a decent night regardless.
Good. I saw a lot of people in Discord had a good night. Philly Phantom, Rob Jack, and Manning, a lot of good screenshots there. Yeah, your cores have been fired. We don't just preach like look at the core and go with it, but if you have been doing it, it has been working out. You can find Rio, our man Matt, who split the 555 on Sunday, NBA core reports. Also our man Ham, you can find that cash report. Usually myself, the Stone, again, showdown content, projections, ownership, DVP rankings. You can filter the last 2 weeks, which I do recommend over the past year, just because it's a lot more. It tells the true story a lot more, since so many of these teams full year and last 2 weeks it does change. We got Parabai in here. Great to see you. Wins a lot. You had a great night in the PGA streets, I believe. So congrats to you. AX, no, I did not move. I've been in Arizona for a couple of years. I'm just a donkey, and I forgot when lock was, which is not normal for me. Gangrene. Matt, good to see everybody. Yeah, I don't think I really have too much more to add. I think we just get right into it. First game of the night. Oh yeah, actually, yeah, the MVP. Shea's now minus 800. So like you said, I mean, you're not getting any value there. It's he locked it up, and deservedly so. What a game that was yesterday, and what a really bad foul for OKC to give excuse me, the 4-point play, the possession before. I mean, that's inexcusable, but they still got the job done, and it made Shea was probably happy with how it turned out because it made his shot even more impressive at the end.
He's back-to-back daggers, honestly.
I know.
Kind of got unlucky with the 4-point play.
I mean, did he got fouled? He was chirping or he won on the first one?
Shea was?
Yeah, Shea was on Christian Brown on the first one, not the second one. I think he was complaining that he got arm or something on the first one.
That was his celebration that he did after he hit it.
Maybe, but he was like going at the ref, I thought. So I took it the other way, but maybe it was a celebration. I don't know. The second one for sure was a celebration. All right, let's get right into the first game of the night. We do have a close spread. Memphis Grizzlies, Philadelphia 76ers, 2.5-point favorites are the Sixers. 228.5 total in this one, back-to-back for the Grizzlies. And, yeah, their injury report, like usual, a laundry list. No Scottie Pippen, no Santi Aldama. And then we have Walter Clayton, Cedric Howard, and Ty Jerome all questionable on the Philly side. Still without Maxey, still without Embiid. And then VJ Edgecombe is questionable, but they do get back Paul George. Just want to make sure that's correct.
No, that's not correct.
No, they don't. I don't know why RG still doesn't have him on the injury report. But so nothing is no Embiid, no Maxey, no PG still. Edgecombe is questionable, who has been out lately. Yeah, I mean, a back-to-back for Memphis. They were the value yesterday that everyone went to. Seems like nobody's going to this game today. How do you see it?
Kind of agree with that. I think that the injury report that you were looking at might be missing some guys because Jerome, Cedric Howard, Hendricks, and Rupert are all off the injury report. The only questionable tag that they have right now is Walter Clayton Jr.
That means if this is off right now, that means it's probably going to be. Should I just go to Basketball Monster? RG at least has it filtered so easily, but I mean, yeah, they're still showing Jerome and all that. Basketball Monster, is that the easiest place?
Yeah, they're probably the most up to date.
All right.
Yes, I mean, I agree with the ownership on the Memphis side. I just think that it's generally going to be tough to get tournament winning ceiling now that they have 11 guys I see projected for minutes. So not really too much I want to add there. I think it's just going to be a max one situation unless they randomly rule out some guys, which I don't think they're going to do. We even saw last night, not to like kind of harp too much on stuff that previously happened, but even in a game where they only had 8 bodies, they weren't really able to produce a ton of tournament winning scores. Like you could have won with Javon Small. You needed Ryan Rupert last night. Yeah. Shout out to Wardo. He was on him at really low ownership. But nobody, like, you didn't need Small. You didn't need Cam Spencer. I saw a lot of people winning with these guys, but you could have faded them and not played them. So I just think it's kind of something to keep an eye on moving forward, especially with a team like Memphis where they're not really condensing minutes as much. Maybe it'll be like 1 or 2 guys that will see 30-plus minutes, but even then you got to guess right. Like I thought it was going to be Spencer and Gigi getting 30-plus minutes, and it was Rupert. I think even Meshack got pretty close. But yeah, this is a really good bounce back spot for Philly in particular. Memphis is bottom 6 in defensive rating over the last 2 weeks. They're dead last in rebounding, and on the season they've kind of leaned more 3-point funnel heavy, but they're bottom 4 in rim defense over the last 2 weeks, as well as being dead last in turnover percentage. So just really bad all around. I think that's a good spot for the Memphis guys to bounce back here in a pretty big way. So I do have interest in Quentin Grimes at 6.9K, assuming he's still starting and assuming Edgecombe is out. I think you could probably still play him if Edgecombe were to be in because the minutes are just crazy last night. Even in a game that was kind of a blowout, they only lost by 13, but it felt larger than that. Grimes was at like 36 minutes, checked out with like 6 minutes to go. So he was trending for 42 minutes in a game if it was staying close. So yeah, I do have interest in him if VJ's out in particular. He's had a pretty solid role lately. Involvement percentage up a little bit. Points per game are up from 12.4 on the season to 19.7% or 19.7 points per game. So I think he's starting to kind of come back around to the player that we saw him last season being. And then Oubre, I'd be fine going back to. He's really bad last night. Didn't really get into a rhythm. Picked up 2 quick fouls early in the game, so it was kind of doomed after that. But I'd expect a pretty big bounce back game for him in particular because I think that there's a couple different ways that he can reach ceiling. When he's hot from 3-point range, he could really spike for a big scoring game. I think he's a pretty underrated rebounder as well when he really tries to get rebounds. And against a team like Memphis, who's dead last and rebounding over the last couple of weeks, could really spike for some rebounds there, maybe for with a double-double. And then also the stocks, I think that it's a good spot for him to add some steals to his stat line here. So I kind of like Oubre a good bit. Expect him to play like 36-plus minutes in a close game. I mean, they're only favored by 3 here, so you're going to get full minutes from these Sixers guys. So I definitely think that they have to be in consideration. And then Adem Bona has a little bit of sneaky upside as a value center because center is not that good tonight outside of Bam and a couple of these other guys that project like okay values. I think that Bona and Drummond are kind of interesting tonight at 4.6 and what is Drummond now? 4.9K. I think these guys are a little interesting tonight.
Wow, they're going to be super low on too. If Edgecombe's in, are you good getting there? Like he's missed a week. He was playing like 40 minutes. If he comes back, are you expecting like high 30s right back into it? Obviously expensive, him, Oubre, and Grimes, but I mean, like you said, they're still favored. They want to win. These guys are going to play a lot of minutes. I think Saber has these guys under projected in terms of minutes for sure.
Yeah, I would definitely be fine going to him because it's a contusion. It's not really a soft tissue injury, so it should be something that he could play full minutes if he does play. It's just kind of like a pain tolerance thing. And I was reading some of the beat writers just notes about what they would do with Maxey out, and they basically said just insanely high usage for VJ Edgecombe if he were to play. So I would definitely look at him as I would imagine he's low owned too. I mean, AK is kind of, a little bit of sticker shock there after being out for such a long time.
For sure. And then if Edge comes in, you're still fine playing Oubre and Grimes, I take it?
I would probably be max 2 of those 3 guys then.
Okay. I like it. Yeah, Memphis side definitely really tough to get to on the slates. Keep it rolling. Next game on the slates. Yeah, big talking point. Just look at this ownership on the Miami Heat. It is off the charts. Miami Heat's, 16.5 point favorites over the Washington Wizards. Big boy total, 238.5 in this one. On the Wizards side, no Keyshawn George, no Trae Young, no Jameer Watkins. On the Miami side, no Wiggins, no Norm Powell, no Khalil Ware, and then Tyler Hero is questionable. That is why we're looking at all of this ownership. I'll just throw it right to you on. I mean, the Washington stuff's always difficult. Bub is the only one not projecting for any bit of ownership, and like his minutes are always capped, so that's kind of scary there. We did see like Leaky Black at the start last game. On the Miami side, though, I mean, 16.5 points, like that kind of tells me Hero's in, but I really don't know. That's a lot of points against any NBA team at the end of the day when they're so shorthanded if there was no Tyler Hero. So, yeah, do you have any lean on him? And then take it away with how many is too many, groupings, all of that good stuff.
Don't really have a super strong lane on Hero. I think it would probably be more just like trying to get him a night off because he's been playing a lot and kind of the minutes trended up really quickly because he had to kind of step in for Norm Powell. So I feel like it could be a situation that might just want to get him some rest. Reigning Eastern Conference Player of the Week, by the way.
You had him in your core at like 6% or whatever, too. A lot of people, members benefit. I don't know where you finished in the queue. I don't want to bring it up if it was a soft spot, but I was tracking a little Scoot. Scoot did you no favors, but I mean, what a core you had.
Scoot is such a donkey. And the next night he goes off for 40 off the bench when they're fully healthy with Denny back. I mean, I just don't know how, like, it was just bad look. I don't know what happened that night because people were really high on OG against Denver, and he was like 25% in the queues, and he went for 60. So it was just hard to get past that, even with Tyler Hero being the guy that you needed. So definitely rough. But overall, that was a profitable night. Just I care less about the money, more so just the live final seed for sure. But
yeah,
we'll get one tonight. I kind of disagree with our guys in the chat saying that this game could be closer. I just don't really see it. Miami has been playing really, really good basketball lately. They're 5-2 over their last 7 games. They're 13th in defense, 4th in offense. Washington actively trying to lose games, ruled out Trae Young. Alex Sarr still going to be on a very heavy minutes limit. And then after that, you're talking about a JV level roster, guys that just aren't very good. I just think that Miami has all the edge here on both offense and defense. I think that they're going to roll. But like you said, I mean, there's popping as value because there's so much playing time to go around. You're not really getting rid of a ton of high usage guys other than Norm Powell. Like Wiggins has been, pretty low usage, Ware as well. Jovic doesn't really change much. But I would say that the appeal from Miami is that Eric Spoelstra has been running a pretty tight rotation. So I think you're going to have to get probably like 2 of these guys in your lineups. So I do think you do need to be considering rules in this one. I'll start up top though, because Bam, if you're using Sabres ownership or Sabres projections, he's the top projected player on the slate over guys like Cade and Wemby and Giannis. So it's pretty crazy to see him. He's $3K cheaper than some of these guys. But yeah, I mean, it's a clear smash spot. Not going to even see a ton of Alex Sarr on defense because his minutes are going to be really capped. Over the last 2 seasons, it hasn't been great from a per minute standpoint in this current injury situation, just 1.14 fantasy points per minute. But this season, right around 1.36, and I think that's kind of more in line with what I would expect from him in this matchup. He's also cooked Alex Sarr in their head-to-head matchups over the last 2 seasons, averaging over 53 DK points per game. So I really, really do like him. But, I mean, what's he going to be in the high stakes? Like they say 94%. I don't know if it's going to be that high, but, I mean, that's got to be in consideration of a fade. Like cheap value at 90%, we're talking about a guy like 3K, is much easier to play into and kind of make the case for. I think you could definitely start to kind of build a case around fading a guy like Bam when he's going to be 8,400 and 90+% ownership. Do you have any thoughts there?
It makes it even easier when he's just center eligible. Like you talked about Bona and Drummond right there, who you had some interest in. Danny Wolf, granted he has some power forward eligibility. He's strong. Wemby, just center eligible. Who else we got that's a little interesting? I think Duran could get there. So, yeah, I mean, if he had power forward center eligibility, I guess it's a little harder. I mean, anyone at 94% on a 7-game slate. We're not talking like Matt and I were on a week and a half ago, like pretty much all in on Jokic. And it didn't even really work. But, like, there was only 2 spends above 10K with all the value in the world. It's a completely different slate that way. So, I mean, if that ownership was true, most definitely. Now, what is the Tyler Hero? Do you have any different takes there if Hero was out? Or doesn't not, or like, I mean, I assume his usage goes up a little bit, not really rebounding and stuff like that, but any takes there?
Yeah, then I guess it'd probably be easier to play him at that ownership just because he's going to be like basically the point guard 2. It'll be him and Davion Mitchell kind of running things. So you're just starting to rack up a lot of stats pretty easily.
If you're not playing Bam, are you like really inclined to play Myron Gardner or I don't know, Jaime Jaquez is already a good play, but I'm trying to see like, all right, if Bam's not eating up the boards, this game does get out of hand a little bit, so he misses like one of his rotations. How does Bam not get there? Like a Drew Smith, like is shooting the ball better. How do you see him failing, and like who would that benefit if you are not playing Bam in the lineup?
I don't necessarily think that it would be like him failing because I kind of feel like he's going to be really good from a per minute standpoint regardless, but it's more so that if these other guys are really good as well and the game is just not close, like Bam's probably playing 28 minutes versus 34, 35 that he would normally play. Like Sabres got him projected for 34. That feels kind of on the high end when there's a really good likelihood that this game is not competitive going into the fourth quarter. So I guess with that being said, like it would be the blowout guys that would kind of act as leverage off of Bam, I guess. Who that would be that's getting blowout, I would imagine like Myron Gardner's probably out there. Probably one of Drew Smith and Jakashonis. And then, man, I don't know. I guess like they could go to these like other guys that we haven't really seen much of, like the Jameer Young, Keyshawn Johnson, Golden, Trevor Keels type of plays. I don't really know. Like that feels like they'd have to be up like 40 going into the fourth.
Yeah, I mean, on this 7-game slate, like it's not worth playing those guys.
No.
It sounds like you're just more likely to fade a Bam and hope it's just the blowout that way. And you're still playing min 2 Miami though. Like, is Drew Smith still getting? Like, I'm trying to find guys that are going to get normal run that would maybe get a couple extra minutes boost, like with like 9 minutes, 8 minutes, 7 minutes in the fourth quarter before they go to the complete end of the bench.
Yeah, so who that would be Jaime Jaquez Jr. because he does start the second and fourth quarters, and he'll usually play like, I mean, depending on how the flow of the game going, he could play the entire second or fourth quarter if it's a close game, but he's going to be playing probably like the first 6 minutes at the very least. So he would be the guy I think is kind of the safest from blowout run. I think he's going to play like his full whatever his minute projection would be. I think he's playing that regardless. So he'd be the guy I'm kind of the most okay with that ownership. And then it would probably be Myron Gardner because I think that he would be playing blowout. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have like a strong lean on like who. I guess it's just kind of who you prefer and who fits the best. Drew Smith, Kasper Strakoshonis, and David Mitchell are all point guard eligible only. So I think that it'd be smart to probably be max one of those three guys, even if they will overlap some. If you don't want to set that rule, it'd be max two of those three and then add Larson into that group. And then I would probably be a max one of Fontecchio and Myron Gardner. I think that makes the most sense. And then one guy I'm kind of interested in, I don't know if he's going to get the backup center run, but this Golden guy, I mean, he's mid-price $3K. If there's a chance that he is like stepping into the wear role, maybe in like a smaller minute range, like maybe in like the 14-minute range, I would have a little bit of interest in him because he does seem like he is a pretty good per minute producer, at least from what I looked at in the G League. And I think it is actually comparable tonight because the team that he's playing is pretty much a G League roster.
You really might see yourself getting like right now. I'm taking the average of Ship Nation Saber Sim. I mean, we don't got to project it at all, which I do believe is wrong. Like nowhere, Bam's not going to play all the minutes there, but I mean
they'd have to go small. I don't know who are they going to go with Fontecchio as the backup five? Like I don't know.
I think you definitely might play some, but like. At the end of the day, is Gill and Reese like that scary? Or I mean, obviously Sarr is starting. I assume Bam's going to play almost all the minutes that Sarr is and match him that way. But is it really? I mean, Jaime can play a little bigger than they sometimes do. He's going to play minutes, but like, is it enough minutes on a 7-game slate where we do have value already? Like the 5X rule doesn't really. He gets what 17, 18 DK points. I don't think that's what you want on this slate. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, no, I was more so talking like this MME sprinkle. I'll definitely have him in my pool and like maybe get like 5% of him.
All right, yeah. I mean,
maybe that's a little too. Maybe like 3%.
Okay, yeah. I mean, regardless, that's way over the field. As you can see, he's not even projected right now. So, Washington side, I mean, that feels really tough on this slate.
Yeah, nothing for Washington for me. I think it's kind of the same discussion we have with Memphis. Like you're just unlikely to get a tournament winning score, or at least something that would be viable. I think I'm somewhat interested in Trey Johnson just because I think that the match was pretty good for him. You would want to attack Miami with 3-point shooters, and he's been shooting a lot better lately. But, I mean, his minutes are capped to like 22, so I don't even know if you're getting a good enough score from him in those minutes. So it's pretty much a max one. I guess the guys that are kind of like teetering as a 5X value, Bub, Koulibaly, and Gill, make a player pool, but I don't really have a lot of interest in these guys in particular.
I mean, Gill just center eligible and that Golden center eligible. Would you rather take a flyer on Golden for min price?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I mean, they're running 3 guys out there at center now in Washington because Julian Reese is playing minutes, so it just feels tough to play Anthony Gill at all, really.
Yeah, I mean, Danny Wolf definitely better play. Bagley, I think that better play. Bona, like you talked about. Drummond maybe even, and that's just some of the values in a similar range. I don't think we should really be messing with the Washington stuff right now on this 7-game slate. Next game on the slate, pretty big favorites again. Hawks, 10.5-point favorites over the Dallas Mavericks. 240.5 total, the biggest on the slate in terms of injuries. Jonathan Kuminga is questionable, and if I'm trying to look at Basketball Monster and RG and compare. RG just has it laid out so much better. I can filter by team. So if there is something that's not updated, you just let me know. And on the Dallas side, I'm not really seeing any, like, Cisse is doubtful. It's saying like G League, but it seems like 2 pretty healthy teams. Obviously, the Kuminga question we'll take is relatively important. I think Jalen Johnson, just sorting by ownership, like he doesn't grade out as a great point per dollar play, but you have spends on this slate. I mean, you have value on this slate that is going to force you to use your salary. And Jalen Johnson's always a guy I have some interest in. I think Dyson Daniels could be a little interesting. I don't know. I mean, Naw has a real price tag. CJ's never my favorite. There's a little blowout risk in this one, but mainly Dyson and Jalen Johnson for me in this one. How do you see it?
Yeah, those are two guys I had circled for Atlanta. I think it's a pretty good spot for both of them. But I'll hit on the Dallas stuff first because that one's pretty straightforward. For me, it's just Cooper Flag. I think that he could be getting closer to full minutes, whatever that might be for him, maybe like 33, 34, because I definitely think that there's some incentive to just kind of finish out the season on a high note. Obviously, the Rookie of the Year race is kind of heated up a little bit over the last few weeks. Con Knuppel has been the odds have kind of switched in his favor. I don't know what they're at now, but I wouldn't imagine they'd change too much because
minus 170 plus 140. I mean, we're flipping.
Yeah. But I mean, the market overreacts a lot to single games. So I would be surprised if we get it back to like even after tonight if Cooper Flag does have a big game. And I kind of think he can. I don't think that he's somebody that I worry too much about matchups because we've seen him be pretty unaffected by whoever's been guarding him is, borderline matchup proof, which is crazy to say since he's so young. But he's returned and kind of had a massive usage rate, 37.4% usage rate over his last 3 games. The one downside I have is that the Hawks are playing really good on both ends of the court. They're number 1 ranked defense and offense over the last 2 weeks. They are allowing more points around the basket, and Flag is definitely looking to get there more so when he's scoring. But we've also seen a lot of times where Atlanta's been really wishy-washy with their defensive output. They've allowed really bad teams to hang around and even beat them at times. So I don't necessarily believe these numbers. So I think that Dallas can keep it close. And I mean, if you look at the games that are projected to be blowouts, this is the one that's going to be the closest between Dallas, Brooklyn, and Washington. So I think we get full minutes. And Jason Kidd's kind of ran things pretty straightforward. So I think that he'll be good to go from a minute standpoint. So I do like Cooper Flag as the only guy I'm really looking to on Dallas. I guess you can make like a PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford could probably make the player pool, Middleton as well, but I don't really love those guys here. For Atlanta, yeah, really just Jalen Johnson and Dyson Daniels. I think it's a good spot for Jalen Johnson here. The Mavericks have been pretty bad with their rim defense all season long. And if Kuminga misses, then I like him a lot more because he has seen a small dip in usage, been a really small sample size that they've played together. It's only been 1 game and about 11 minutes of overlap, but Kuminga is a guy that does kind of command a good amount of usage. I do think it'd be better for Jalen Johnson if Kuminga does miss against a team with pretty much no rim defense. I do like the matchup for him. And then Dyson's been on a mini heater as of late over his last 5 games, slight usage rate increase, but he's also shooting the ball much more efficiently than he has been this season. 67% true shooting. The steals are back up to 2.4 per game over his last 5 and been adding a little bit more rebounds as of late. Dallas is bottom 3 in turnover percentage and a below average rim defense. So kind of the 2 boxes are checked off when you want to play Dyson Daniels. And then I agree with you. I don't really think there's enough of ceilings for guys like a Kongwu, Nah, or CJ McCollum. I think Jock is okay to consider just because he's cheap enough and at a pretty weak center position that doesn't really have a ton of value. So 3.9K, good price tag for him.
I was going to mention that too. Is playing Dyson and Jalen Johnson too much in this game? If you did that, are you like inclined to just play Cooper Flag and those are your 3 spends ish, and then from there you go value?
Yeah, I do think that makes a little bit of sense. Maybe like more of like hand build. I don't know if I'd want to set that rule in an optimizer because then that's all you're going to get.
Yourself in too much.
But I think that does make a little bit of sense because this game has a lot of fantasy appeal. I mean, really, the highest game total by a pretty wide margin outside of the Miami-Washington game that is projected to be a really big blowout.
Yeah, I mean, 10.5 is obviously big spread, but I always like to say, like, if it's a 10-point game with 5 minutes left, I mean, Jalen Johnson's going to be out there. Dyson's going to be out there, and that's really all you're looking for at the end of the day. So, yeah, Jock was the other one I was going to ask you about, so I'm glad you touched on him. 3,900 can make a lot work. So, yeah, I think that's fine as well. All right, keep it rolling. Next game on the slate, the Detroit Pistons and the Brooklyn Nets. Another big favorite in this one are the Pistons. Let me go back to – I was looking at the awards. 15.5 point favorites are the Pistons. 216.5, so very big spread, very low total on the Detroit side. No Azure Thompson, no Karis LeVert. On the Brooklyn side, no Day'Ron Sharpe, no Igor Demon, no Zaire Williams. Back-to-back for Brooklyn. I mean, yeah, the one that is going to get ownership and is popping is Danny Wolf. Another good game yesterday, 27 minutes, 32.5 DK points, Didn't even shoot the ball great. 5 for 12. He took 6 threes, which you like to see. Yeah, for it's March, so college basketball always like to make some references there. Many probably do. Remember some Danny Wolf on Michigan last year, kind of like a point forward type guy. Power forward eligibility, which is really nice on top of center. I think he's another strong play, but it is by no means will sneak past anyone. So once you go Danny Wolf and you're playing like the 3 chalk Miami guys, you're kind of getting into the same roster construction because then you need money to spend. And there's only so many spends on the slate, but maybe that's when you do go a Dyson Daniels, a Cooper Flag, and Jalen Johnson. Like you get different up top when you are eating the chalk down low. But yeah, Danny Wolf looks solid. We're also showing some Drake Powell min price, Ben Seraph getting some ownership, and then Sasser and Cade a little bit. Obviously, Cade just you have money on the slate. He looks like a contrarian spend right now. How do you see this game? Big total or big spread, low total?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it never feels great playing the Nets at any sort of ownership. So I would probably be more inclined to fade. These guys are getting, like 25% for Powell, a guy that is a terrible permanent producer. Seraph is just a backup point guard. Like there's no guarantee that he's going to play enough minutes to even be viable. And then I guess Danny Wolf is one I could kind of wrap my head around a little bit more because he's likely now sliding into the backup center role with Aaron Sharp out and a back-to-back for Nick Claxton. He's probably not playing a ton of minutes, so that one makes a little bit of sense. And like you said, he does run that point forward role. So there is more opportunity for him to kind of pile up the stats. But I kind of think that Detroit is somewhat interesting here because they are on a 4-game losing streak. Not a good time of the year to be having a losing skid, and their defense has fallen off. They were 5th on the season, dropped down to 17th over the last 2 weeks. No surprise to see that happening with Asar out of the lineup, but their their numbers are pretty much down across the board. Their rim defense has been down a little bit, rebounding is down a little bit, but they're still a team I would prefer to attack with 3-point shooters. And then for Brooklyn, the way to attack them has been the same all season long. Their bottom 3 defense this year and a huge rim funnel. They rank top 3 in defensive 3-point frequency, so teams just don't really get up a ton of threes against them. So it's going to be the guys that score around the basket that do the damage against them. Nothing really negative to say about Cade here. Like you said, he's just kind of popping as somewhat as a play because of the lack of spend ups tonight. But I think it's a pretty good matchup for him. The Nets obviously have a pretty good pick and roll defense just with the way that they'll be double teaming Cade, but he's been good against them on really efficient shooting, averaging 26 points per game, 2.5 rebounds, 11 assists, 54.5 DK points per game on 69% shooting against the Nets this season. But yeah, I mean, it's a projected blowout, so I do have a little bit of concern for the minutes for him, but I think that he's going to be great from a permanent basis. I think Durant is interesting as a pivot off of Bam. You're giving up a ton of projection, so it's kind of tough to be confident with that pivot, but it makes sense. I mean, this is just a matchup that Durant profiles really, really well against with how bad the rebounding and rim defense has been for the Nets this season. He's done really well against Nick Claxton in their head-to-head matchups over the last couple seasons as well, averaging 19.3 points per 75 possession, 76 true shooting, so really good efficiency for him. And he's also averaged just under 47 DK points per game against the Nets this season. You're going to have to bump up his projection a ton or maybe just tick down Bam's a little bit to even get Durant over Bam, but I do think that it makes sense in theory tonight. A little bit unsure what to do with the Sasser stuff because he has started in a couple games, but I just don't really see there being enough usage while playing alongside Cade. He's really cheap, and there's a chance that he gets blowouts. I think that he could kind of backdoor hit value, kind of like how Javon Small did last night. But I don't know. Something's telling me that Kevin Huerter is an interesting pivot off of Sasser tonight. I just think that he makes so much sense for the Pistons moving forward because he was kind of their quote-unquote big trade deadline acquisition. I think people were kind of expecting to make a bigger splash with all the names that are getting thrown around, but he was the guy that they went for. And he just makes a lot of sense as a guy that can provide some of that secondary playmaking that they don't have with Asar Thompson now, and some more floor spacing that has been a really big issue for Detroit all season long. They don't really have any three-point threats outside of Duncan Robinson. And I would even say that Kevin Huerter is that great of a three-point shooter, but he's definitely the second best option that they have right now. So I don't know. I'm kind of interested in Kevin Huerter just just for the pure narrative aspect that they might just get him more minutes tonight. But I think that kind of covers it for Detroit. And then I already said what I thought about Brooklyn. I think it's a max one situation for Brooklyn. I think Danny Wolf is clearly the best option, but I think that there are kind of holes to poke in all of these guys.
The Red Rocket, Kevin Huerter. That's a name I haven't clicked a long time in DFS. But, I mean, I was clicking it when he was on the Kings. And, there's definitely was spurts. I was clicking Kevin Huerter. He's definitely a solid three-point shooter. I mean, he's going to shoot them when he's open. That's why he's there. So, kind of like your Duncan Robinson play last slate we were on. Forget who was it against. The Spurs. The rematch that way. He didn't necessarily get there, but he's going to get looks, and he's with Cade drawing a lot of the attention. When you're open, he's going to shoot it if he gets hot. No one's really playing him at 3,900, so that is a way to get different down below when a lot of concentrated chalk is going to the Heat stuff and Danny Wolf. Red Velvet is out his, not Red Rocket. It's Red Velvet. It's red something, that's for sure. Yeah, I think Cade could get it done in 30 minutes in this matchup. So at ownership at 10% when it is very chalky, I think he definitely makes a lot of sense. And Duran. Sasser, I totally agree with you with. Especially if he is getting any bit of ownership. 10%, well, it's not a lot. It's also not a little. That's definitely some meaningful ownership. So I wouldn't like that. 1 bit, 0.85 fantasy point per minute guy. I don't think
okay, so Michael Porter Jr. is back tonight. There have been times where they'll play him full minutes, but I think that if you're playing him, you should probably be pairing him with at least one of Cade or Duran. I don't really think that you could probably consider some of the other guys that would play full minutes if the game was close, but I also think that it makes a little bit of sense to pair MPJ with Nick Claxton, because I think that if the game is close, you're getting full minutes from the main rotation guys. I just don't really see a situation where it's close and neither of Claxton or MPJ are the reasons why.
It's a great shout. Claxton, getting a little bit of ownership. It feels tough to go Claxton as much, but yeah, that makes sense with the Michael Porter. I definitely like correlating it with the Duran and Cade stuff quite a bit, though. And no one's really going to play Michael Porter's UC, so you can eat a lot of chalk that way. And you can play him with Danny Wolf and Cade or something like that on the slate. Red Rocket is a dog's feet. All right. We'll keep it rolling. First, I do want shout out to all 142 watching live. Many going to watch on playback. Some probably didn't know that we started an hour early. That's another reason, A, to get in the Discord, but also to hit that subscribe button. You'll get notified when we do go live. Also, follow us on Twitter /X, whatever you want to call it. We do tweet out our whole schedule on there. We do have a replay from our PGA first look show from Matt yesterday. Tomorrow is Leverage Lane, talking PGA players. Massive prize pools out there. I'm definitely going to be in the streets. Rio, you're going to be in the streets this week, right?
Haven't decided. Haven't really played golf in a few weeks, but potentially.
You haven't played since you won 12.5K?
I think I played the week after, and then I got dusted, and then it was like, yeah, I think that's it for me.
This is massive, the contest out there. So the fish will be flocking. Best content in the industry. Prizes are massive. So I'll definitely be in there. And you do get a little, I don't know if you're interested, Rio, but my rep hit me up. If you spend $2,500 in guaranteed prizes, you get, it's not great. I think it's $6 $25 tickets, 10,000, you get this and on that way. But if you are going to play, just make sure you do opt in for that. So you at least get your 150 in tickets or whatever it is. Min Muli. All right, Metro. Keep that in mind. But yeah, if you do want to join, let me just share this real quick. How you can do it. Chippination.com. Click Join the Nation bottom left and multiple different options to get it. And I think the best would definitely be the 5 days for $19 because it will get you all the PGA content. It'll get you Showdown content for rounds 2, 3, 4, projections for round 1. Again, Showdown contests are very massive as well. MMA, we're back this week, 14 fights. That's awesome to see. NASCAR on Sundays, big prizes there. NHL, of course, still going. NBA. So that's the best. You do get Discord and Saber Sim. If you're just looking for NBA content to close out the year, though, single sport, multiple different options. NBA right here, as low as $29 for the month. If you're going to do it annually, you'll be with us next year. I don't know why you wouldn't. Rio, the best in the business. You can find that as well. Multiple different packages. Can include Saber Sim. All of that good stuff. Let me X out there.
Hey, shout out to you for the Charles. You were spot on with the way that fight was going to go down.
Yeah, I wish I mean, I had a good week, so nothing, not too much in the tourneys. But man, Charles Oliveira plus 190 when you know he has advantage on the mat. That was a little disrespectful. I mean, he was piecing him on the feet too. Those leg kicks. Holloway's a beast, but right away he attacked the leg. Max had to circle the wrong way, close the distance. Charles is the man, which just shows Islam's the man even more. Which just shows maybe Ilya might even be the man there. We're gonna get that fight one of these days, and man, it's gonna be good. But I appreciate that, Rio. You did remember. All right, next fight on the card. Next fight on the card.
I got you all messed up. No.
Yeah, you do. Next game on the slate. The Phoenix Suns taking on my Milwaukee Bucks, who are cheeks. 1.5 point favorites of the Suns. 218.5 total in this one. On the Bucks side, Jericho Sims, Bobby Portis are questionable, and I'm seeing Taurean Prince is questionable too. Not that means anything, but yeah, another name I haven't seen in a long time. Kevin Porter Jr. is out, which is obviously important. On the Phoenix side, no Dylan Brooks. Yeah, that was quite the video. I mean, you see DUI, you think he's drunk. They think he was definitely high, which he probably was. Yeah, I shouldn't really out myself too much, but when I was smoking a lot, I mean, I definitely was driving high way too much in Arizona, all that stuff. So yeah, that made me rethink what's going on over here. Not anymore though, but he's out. Mark Williams is out. Grayson Allen is questionable, which is a big Q tag. Yeah, takeaway. This game's not really getting too much ownership, but I mean, Giannis isn't playing the minutes that he usually is, but he could get there in 30 minutes at very low ownership. Dieng starting, or more than likely for KPJ, playing 30 minutes, 4,400 looks appealing. On the other side, D-Book, Jalen Green. Like, if there's no Grayson, that's pretty big news. So this is the game that stood out. It's supposed to be close, not really too much ownership getting here, and I think there's plays on both sides.
Yeah, I agree. I actually think this game is pretty good. I also feel like the Suns have a massive advantage here, and this feels like a pretty good betting opportunity to get them at what I feel like they should be much heavy favorites than they are tonight.
Last time you said that, the Bucks owned you.
Who was that against?
The Heat.
Oh, that's true.
Keep going against the Bucks. No, I was surprised to see that line too. I definitely was.
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously going to be a much better defense when Giannis plays, but it's really just like the rim defense gets a lot better. But over the last 2 weeks, they're bottom 4 defensive rating, and they are 3 points better with Giannis on the court. So take that with a little bit of grain of salt. But the thing that really stood out here in a big way, the Bucks are dead last in 3-point frequency over the last 2 weeks and bottom 2 on the season. So they just allow a ton of threes. The Suns have been bombing away from 3 all year long. They're the first offensive 3-point frequency offense in the league in the last 2 weeks and 6 on the season. So I think it's a pretty good spot for these guys. I was even looking at some of the odds before jumping on here on guys like Booker and Gillespie. Gillespie's line, at least on my book, it's probably different on DraftKings, but his was set at like 4.5. And then Booker's was at, or maybe it was 3.5, and then Booker's at 2.5. So pretty
for threes?
Yeah, for threes.
Dang, I'll check it out when you're talking. That's a big number for here. Actually, I got it right here. 3.5 minus 141 on the under. Book 2.5 minus. I mean, whatever book. I know actually what book you do have. You might as well. You can find some good ARB spots even potentially, but I mean that's way different than what DK is showing.
Yeah. But I do think that the Suns have a pretty big advantage there. So I have a lot of interest in these guys. Reading an article just kind of breaking down Jalen Green's game and how he fits into the Suns, and it's been pretty bad. I mean, he's just been hyper inefficient this season, and I feel like it's kind of been his game his entire career. He's extremely talented, crazy athlete, but dealing with the injuries this year, so it took him some time to kind of get his legs under him. What are you giggling about?
I just read Jake's comment again. It just made me laugh.
But yeah, it's been pretty rough getting Jalen Green integrated into the offense, but he still has, massive usage, especially when you take away Dylan Brooks. He's kind of filled in the exact role that Brooks had offensively. Brooks had like a 35% usage rate or something this season, and then Jalen Green has been at 37% with Dylan Brooks off the court this season. The minutes have been steadily increasing, been in the low 30s most nights, and the shot volume's just been insane. 20-plus field goal attempts, or mid-teens to 20-plus field goal attempts in every game this season. The least he's taken in a game was 14. So the floor-ceiling combination is really, really good for a guy like him, offensively, at least scoring the ball. So I do have interest in him. But Devin Booker, I think, is a very good spend-up option. Actually was hoping that the ownership would be lower because I thought I was going to sneak it by people tonight, but he looks amazing tonight as a spend-up. Go ahead.
I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe 21. Saber more times than not is closer, but I'd be a little surprised if it was more than 21. Let's just say that. I mean, it's a real price tag, and there is like right in the same price range as Bam, which everyone's going to click. Obviously, you can play both, but there's enough other spends on the slate that Jalen Johnson's, the Wemby, like Cooper Flag. There's enough that people are going to kind of be rotating. So maybe a little hot there, but yeah, I guess it's about right.
It'll probably come down in some of the higher stakes stuff, which will be good because I think I'm going to be playing him in one of my lineups tonight.
Unless Grayson's out, of course, then
yeah, that'll definitely increase his ownership. But I'm fine with him regardless. He's been shooting the ball or playing a lot better as of late. We've kind of seen Devin Booker revert to old Booker a bit. Top 42 DK points in each of his last 3 games. But been leaving a lot of meat on the bone as well as scoring the ball. He shot just 32% from three-point range over that stretch of games. I don't have it in front of me, but I know that he's a much better shooter than a 32% from three-point range. So I definitely think once that regresses, it could hit in a really big way. But he's been a little bit of an underrated fantasy option just because we're not getting the same ceiling that we've seen from him in the years past. But still, with Dylan Brooks and Mark Williams off the court this year, he's at 1.4 fantasy points per minute, so pretty good for his price tag, and does see a pretty meaningful usage rate increase. The Bucks don't really have great on-ball options outside of Ryan Rollins, but even his defensive game, I think, has a little bit of question marks. He actually profiles as a slightly negative defender, but can kind of get away with some things because he has a freakishly long wingspan. But I think Devin Booker is a really, really good option tonight. So I like him a ton with the point guard, shooting guard eligibility. And I do think Colin Gillespie is in play at 6.4K. Just a good three-point shooter in a spot where he could get up a ton. I think that he's got some interest. That's probably it, though. I think that the time has come and gone for Oso Ighodaro as an option. He's also not really running away with the minutes. They've been splitting the 48s. It's 48 center minutes between him and Malawak. Malawak's been getting around 20 a night. And then
can we go Malawak at 3-4? Or do you like that?
No, I don't
grinder Gardner dude on Miami more.
Yeah, the grinder. But no Malawak yet. He's just not. He's very raw. I just don't think he's an option yet. For the Sun side of this, or sorry, the Bucks side of the game, I think it's a fine matchup for Giannis, but I just don't know if the minutes are there. If they randomly spike, which I don't really think that there would be anything that would say that it would tonight, then I would have some interest, but I just don't think that we really need to go there. I do think that Miles Turner becomes interesting. Generally a guy I hate playing, but I think you have to have consideration if the 2 bigs that we're eating into his minutes do miss, because I think that you're probably getting up to like 28 minutes from him, which would be pretty good in a slightly above average matchup. So I think that he's a guy to keep an eye on.
What about Kuzma or Ryan Rollins himself? I mean, Rollins completely busted at very high ownership tonight. He still was on the winner because of how high, like on some spots with how high owned he was, but I think more so Kuzma at his price tag than Rollins. You have any interest? Yeah,
Kuzma for sure, but I'd probably rather play Dieng.
Okay, yeah, I like Dieng.
I just think he's just not very good.
I mean, this guy's gonna be 1%, if that. If Grayson does play, a little revenge narrative. I mean, I guess what are the minutes more so? Like if he's playing 32 minutes, again, not necessarily just because of revenge, but he's been playing great basketball this year. Obviously, though, Gillespie, Green, Booker, when everyone's healthy, it is more crowded and he has a real price tag, but no one's gonna play Grayson Allen.
Yeah, I liked him a lot. He's actually got pretty solid per minute stuff. But the questionable tag does scare me because he's been dealing with a lot of injuries this season.
All right. Rio, you hate Duke?
I do hate Duke. Fuck Duke.
UNC guy over there?
Yeah, but who are we talking about? Because
Malik.
Oh no, I don't dislike him because of that. I just don't think that he's just really raw, and it honestly was kind of I think it went a little too high in the draft, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. All right, keep it rolling. 2 games left. The phenomenal real life NBA game We're looking at the San Antonio Spurs as 3.5-point favorites over the Boston Celtics, 221.5 total. On the Boston side, no Vooch, no Peyton Pritchard. On the Spurs side, Harrison Barnes out, Mason Plumlee questionable. It's obviously pretty big news. No Vooch and no Peyton Pritchard. In terms of this one, obviously with Tatum back, muddies things up, and they still have real price tags. I still think Jaylen Brown is a very solid play. Will play a lot of minutes. Ownership is going to be in check. Guard forward eligibility, which is nice. And then on the Spurs side, obviously center is strong. Like Bam only center eligible. But man, anytime you're getting a pretty competitive game and Wemby's projecting under 15%, I mean, you can load it up. Wemby's the freaking man. Fox, you had a great call last week, I believe it was, when we were on the show. He went off. His price hasn't moved at 6.7K. Castle in a competitive game at 7K. I mean, it feels like another similar to the Bucks-Suns game. Not really much ownership getting there, but it's going to be competitive. And this is kind of a playoff basketball type game. So yeah, I got interest more so in the spends. I don't know about the value.
I have interest in this game top to bottom, honestly.
Okay.
I think it's a really good game. I think that you can kind of somewhat throw away the matchup stuff because I just think that we're going to get really high minutes. Like you said, I think it is a playoff-like atmosphere. The minutes should be really good for both sides of this game. It's not nationally televised because they're on Peacock, but it's, one of those types of games. It's a featured game, so they're, more timeouts, longer timeouts, so these teams could play their guys full. We saw Wemby is still capable of playing a lot of minutes. He did it against, was it the Detroit game the other night where he played 39? He played 39 against Detroit. So, yeah, I definitely think that the minutes are really good here. But, matchup-wise, these teams play a very similar style of defense, but also two of the hottest teams in the NBA over the last 2 weeks. The Spurs are 6-1 over their last 7, top 9 in defense, top 3 in offense. But from a matchup standpoint, these teams are two of the best from a field goal percentage standpoint, rim defense-wise. They're top 4 and top 7 at rebounding, so it's going to be a game where I think the perimeter scoring could really dictate who wins. The Celtics are the much more deadly offensive team when it comes to shooting three-pointers because that's kind of been their identity for the past couple of years. They are top 3 in three-point frequency and top 3 in threes made per game. The Spurs are much better from an efficiency standpoint this season, and but they're still top 8 in three-point frequency, so a pretty solid team there. But the Spurs do have this slightly better matchup because the Celtics are a team that really, really does look to take away the three-point or the rim scoring, and they're bottom 4 in defensive three-point frequency this season defensively. Starting with the Celtics side, the usage has held up just fine for Jaylen Brown. I think the price tag coming down a little bit is good for his overall fantasy outlook, but the matchup is not great. You're going to see Stephon Castle, and then with Wemby patrolling down low in a game where he could see the minutes trend up a little bit more, I think it could be tougher for Jaylen Brown to get his drive game going here. But in a fairly small sample, only about 30-something plus or 30-plus possessions against Stephon Castle, he is averaging 36 points per 75 on 77% true shooting. But it is worth noting that Wemby only played I think it was 24, 25 minutes the last time these teams faced. That was when he was coming off of the bench. I think Wemby's kind of closer to full tonight. So it could be a little bit tougher for Jaylen Brown to get it going, soaring around the basket. But he's still a good enough mid-range and three-point shooter that he could get up some points here. I think Tatum is a little bit interesting just because whenever you're introducing a guy like this into the offense, usually that comes with a really, really strong usage role. He's averaged 30.5% on his first 2 games, just playing right around 27 minutes. But he had 13.5 potentials in his first game. The involvement on offense has been great. The on-ball role has been really good. And I think that he's got a slightly better matchup than Jaylen Brown does tonight. But he just really changes the entire outlook of the Celtics on both ends of the court. So I do think that moving forward, Boston is probably the team that should be favored to win the East. It's going to be a close race, but I do think that it's been pretty good to see Tatum return and play 27 minutes after not playing for almost a full year. I mean, he's going to be close to full come playoff time, which is just a scary thing for Boston or for all the other teams in the East. But yeah, the guy that I have a lot of interest in is actually Derek White at 7.7K. And I know that a lot of people probably won't be going there. There's not a lot of numbers that would really suggest that he's a great play, but I just think that it sets up as a really good spot for him with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum getting a lot of the defensive attention, it could leave Derek White as a guy that gets a good amount of secondary usage and a lot of offense funneling through him. Doesn't really have elite per minute stats while sharing the court with these two guys, and the price is high, but his three-point shooting could really show up in a big way tonight if he does get hot. And he has shot the ball a lot better as of late. But with Peyton Pritchard out, I think they have to get a little bit more creative with his rotation now. I think they probably want him more staggered away from these guys in the secondary, or to get some secondary usage in the second unit. And it's really not surprising looking back at the matchups against Wemby over the last couple seasons, or the Spurs in general. He's averaging 13.3 3-point field goal attempts per game, and he got up 17 the last time that these teams faced. So really a wide range of outcomes if he's missing or making his shots here. If he's making his shots and he's taking that many, he has a ton of upside, and he's played right around 40 minutes in each of the games versus the Spurs in the last two seasons. So I do think that he's a guy that I'm pretty excited about playing at pretty low ownership. And then I do think guys like Sam Hauser and Baylor Sharman should be considered in the player pool because Peyton Pritchard does leave behind some secondary usage, and these guys will get some open looks just with the Wemby kind of take away the rim scoring. Do you want to break it down real quick? I can get a sip of water because I feel like I talked for a long time right there.
Yeah, I mean, what stood out to me most is, I mean, Rio had interest in so many of these guys, and you're looking at 14% Jaylen Brown and everyone else less than 10%. I think your Tatum point is really interesting. I didn't expect him to play as many minutes as he has coming back, and I mean, you can tell like he's into it. He's chucking the ball. He's like back to the normal Tatum role, and no one's going to play him at 8.2K. But like you said, most people are going to look at that as a negative for Jaylen Brown and Derek White. Like that's almost a good thing. The defense was so focused on Jaylen Brown when Tatum was off the court. Now he has a lot more one-on-one matchups when the ball moves. And same thing with Derek White. He's just going to have a lot more open looks. Derek White feels a little more tough to stomach, but I'm never going to doubt you. Like that ownership is really low. This is the price is a sticker shock for sure. So he might be like 3%, 2%. But yeah, that's on chalky slates like this. If you're playing the Heat value, if you're playing Danny Wolf, we're looking at ways to get different. It looks like this game and then the Bucks Suns game, which is, I mean, the guys you had interest, like Book's going to get more ownership than this stuff. But I mean, you said Shireman, you said Sam Hauser. Obviously, Hauser can always shoot the rock and get there that way. But I mean, that ownership, you like this game a lot, and it looks like you got to get different somewhere on a chalky slate, like it's drawing up to be. And it feels like this is one of those games you can. And I like Fox, Castle, Wemby. It's appeal on the other side of the game, no doubt about that. And minutes are under projected on both sides for how we're talking. So I like it, Rio. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I'll go through the Spurs stuff real quick. Didn't want to overlook that, but I do think I agree with you on the Wemby stuff. Like I would be projecting him a little bit higher than what the industry has him at, like probably 34, 35, just because these nationally televised games against playoff caliber opponents. Like I think that there's probably an aspect where they want to get more minutes from their guys because this is going to be simulating like a playoff-like atmosphere. So it just makes a ton of sense for them to really play the guys that they're going to be going into the playoff rotation with. So I do think Wemby is much better than the numbers show right now at whatever ownership he's at and whatever minute range that they have him at. I think he'll be higher. He's been playing great lately. Hasn't done that great against Boston, but I think that he'll be able to bounce back here. But he's shot 42% from three-point range, averaging 31.3 points per game, 11.3 rebounds per game, 5.3 stocks per game over his last 5 games. And the area where I think the three-point shot, if he's hitting, he could really put up a big number because the Celtics are they give up the most three-pointers above the break. They're pretty good at taking away the corner threes, but Wemby, really good above the break shooter. You can see some of the times that he's shooting from the logo, and I just don't know. I don't really know what they're going to do defensively. Like, I don't know if it really makes a ton of sense to have Keita running all the way out to the three-point line. I
think it's going to be Brown.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I don't think that I don't think Tatum's ready for that type of assignment, but I do think that Jaylen Brown does make a lot of sense. So then you start to think, like, who's Keita going to be on? So these secondary options look really good in my eyes. Like, do you have any take? Like, who would Keita be on?
Castle? I mean, dare him to shoot?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
You got to clog the paint because, I mean, once Wemby goes down, like you can't just have JB against him down there. So you're kind of playing free safety and just dare Castle to shoot is, I think, the best. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, I mean, I kind of think regardless, Wemby's going to be in a pretty favorable position here. So I like him a lot as a spend up, paired with Derek White, and then paired with. I honestly I like Champagny a ton here at 4.9K. I just think that he makes so much sense for this matchup where you need 3-point shooting. Him and Vassell are like neck and neck for the best above the break 3-point shooter. They're both averaging a little bit under 2 made per game. But I think we've seen Devin Vassell kind of cool down a bit as of late. He had the super hot stretch towards the end of February, shooting the ball much worse over the last couple games. And Champagny's stayed hot. I mean, he's shooting 50% from 3-point range over the last 5 games. And then even going back a little bit further, the number stays pretty much the same. So I do think Champagny just makes a ton of sense here for the matchup. And we've seen him have pretty good upside at times because he does provide – he's a good rebounder. I think that they'll need him defensively against Tatum. He just makes all the sense in the world to me. And then, between Castle and Fox, I think these guys should be considered. I think that the matchup's a little bit better for Fox. He's scoring the ball much better as of late. Not shooting the ball great from 3, only 27% over his last couple of games. And then Castle, he's just going to need to stay out of foul trouble because he'll be guarding Jaylen Brown, and Jaylen Brown is good at drawing fouls. I think that they just really need as much as they can get from Castle here. Harper and Keldon, I think, are in play as well. Should the game play tighter, I think Harper actually has pretty decent ceiling at 4.4K.
Yeah, I think if you do think Castle gets into foul trouble or something, I mean, Harper would be a very big beneficiary right there. Yeah, I think you broke it down really well. I don't really have too much more to add. Like this game at ownership, there's a lot of appeal. I think the minutes are underprojected, most definitely from what we're looking at. And there's enough value on the slate. There's obviously some value in this game. Champagny, Vassell, like you mentioned Hauser, Shireman. There's fantasy goodness in this one. And I'm definitely excited to watch it in real life and see how it plays out. All right, last game of the nights. Again, of the slate. There is night games, but it's not on either FanDuel or DraftKings. Again, appreciate the like button and the subscribe button. Houston Rockets taking on the Toronto Raptors. 4.5-point favorites of the Rockets. 220.5 total in this one. On the Toronto side, no Colin Murray-Boyles, and Jakob Poeltl is questionable. Dang, I didn't know Chucky Hepburn was on Toronto G League, but that's a shout out to Wisconsin playing great ball heading into March. On the Houston side, no Jay Sean Tate, nothing there. I mean, Jakob Poeltl, the stuff on Toronto, I think RJ Barrett's my favorite at price, and then probably quickly. All these guys are tough when they're fully healthy, though. Like Scotty Barnes, right in the Bam range, right in the Tatum, Jaylen Brown range. It feels a little tougher for me to get there, but maybe you see it different. Jakob Poeltl's the one, though. If he plays, they're going to need size against Sengun. No Murray-Boyles. So I think he'd be a sneaky center option. And if he's out, can we just fire Mamu up and absolutely unload at 4.8K? Again, it is an hour after lock. With that being said, there's only one game that locks right away, and it's not the most appeal. So we should have Poeltl news and who's starting. But, I think Sandro would be either Jakob if he plays or Sandro, I think, are two good plays that aren't going to get much ownership.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. You definitely need size and rim scoring. I don't know when the illness, when Poeltl picked up the illness tag, if it was a midday thing or if it was last night.
I'll look on Underdog when you're talking.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, these teams don't really provide us with the best game environments usually because they just play somewhat slower and they are more defensive minded. But I will say that both these teams have been slipping a bit defensively as of late. Houston's strength all season long has been their rebounding. They're one of the best offensive rebounding teams and one of the best teams at limiting offensive boards, but they've actually fallen to bottom 10 over the last 2 weeks. And then Toronto, bottom 4 in turnover percentage over the last 2 weeks, so just struggling to take care of the ball. They've been a little bit below average in both the rim and 3-point shooting, so I think that there are guys that are projected okay against Toronto matchup-wise. But as of right now, nothing is a really big standout play for Toronto, but it would definitely open up in a somewhat of a big way for the front court guys if Poeltl does miss, because they would just be so thin. It would be basically just Sandro as the center that they would have. I just don't really think they're going to be playing Mobo much, if at all. So I do think that there is a little bit of a, I don't know if it's necessarily edge waiting for it, but I do think that you'd get a pretty decent ownership discount waiting for Sandro if you get it right, because I think that he would have to play a good bit, and the rim defense has been a lot worse for the Rockets as of late. So there's a little bit of scoring upside for him there. So I do, and we know that he's a pretty solid per minute producer, has been at times this season, a little bit less as of late, but he would definitely be a guy I'd want to get to if I knew early on that that Pirtle was going to miss. And then if Pirtle does,
Pirtle, we didn't get it today, so it looked like yesterday that he was just on the report.
Okay, cool. And then, yeah, if Pirtle does miss, that would also improve Scotty Barnes and RJ Barrett. Those would be the two guys I'm really looking to. Starting to get up there for a price tag for Barrett, but the price on Barnes I feel like is pretty fair. Just going to be a pretty tough matchup. I actually don't know who they'll put on him. I think it'd be Jabari. I didn't really have enough time to look at like the head-to-head stuff for this game, but I just don't really think it's a super appealing game on either side. But that I would be looking to Barnes, Barrett, and Sandro if Pirtle is out. On the Rocket side, it's really just Ahmed Thompson for me. I guess you can kind of always make the case for guys like KD and Sengun because the spin-ups aren't great tonight, and they're always okay as like last man in type of plays, but I don't really love anything about their matchup in particular. For Amen, I like that the Raptors have been struggling to turn over the ball as of late, bottom 4 turnover percentage, like I mentioned. They've never really been that great of a rim defense, but it doesn't really get a whole lot better or worse if you sub out Pirtle for Sandro. Amen's been playing pretty good as of late as well, averaging 46 DK points per game over his last 5 on 64% true shooting. So he's been rounding into decent form. So he'd be the only guy I'm really looking to. But, yeah, just all overall kind of an unappealing game for me.
I agree. I think the biggest news is the Yaka Pirtle stuff, but really hard for me to get to anyone on the Houston side. Marquis, great to see Metro in here again. Mr. Reichen, Colin, appreciate everyone hanging out with us, talking the 7-game slate. Again, we'll be back to the normal time an hour later at 4 Eastern tomorrow. Had to move it up today. Thank you, Rio, again, for making that happen. Good luck to everybody out there in their contest. Any final words for you, Rio, before we get on out of here?
No. Yeah, good luck to everybody tonight. Hopefully have another successful night, and then me and Matt will be back tomorrow. I think I'm on for the rest of the week, so you got to get used to my face and voice. Hopefully my congestion goes down over the next couple of days.
Hope you feel better. Maybe a live final seat tonight will make you feel a little better the next day. Good luck. Definitely appreciate all you do for the people. And again, if you do want Rio's slate plan, core report, access to him in Discord, you can find that. ShipItNation.com, NBA package, daily package, 5 days. I think the 5 days for $19 probably best with the players coming up, MMA, NASCAR, and NHL. Good luck, everybody, tonight. Be safe. Rio and Matt will be back tomorrow. For Rio, I'm Title. Be safe. Peace.